guess I'll turn this sound down. So all you hear is, yeah, okay. All right. There we are, live on YouTube. And Lynn Castaldo, this mic is all yours.
Good morning, or good afternoon, actually. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. I'm going to just start out with your lesson 185. I want the peace of God. Empty me, fill me, and use me, Holy Spirit. Heaven is the decision I must make. And then I'm going to add a prayer that was given to me back in 2019 and 2020. Accept, honor, and lead in love and light. Let it be and let it lead. So we are starting a new book, like Lynn said, from Michael A. Singer, The Wisdom Untethered. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Lynn's putting it up. Why do I have an echo?
It's my fault.
Okay, you have an echo too.
There. Is that better?
Yes, I think so. Yes, I don't have an echo. All right. So Wisdom Untethered, a time for questions. So I haven't really even opened up this book.
You, but that's my problem.
11:11. What is Mike?
It's just that your class started perfectly at 11:11, which is the angel
yeah,
time.
mine is 12:12. Yeah, angel time. But I forget all the time what that means.
Your class started perfectly at 11:11, which is the angel time.
Yeah, mine is 12:12. Yeah, angel time. But I forget all the time what that means.
Your class started perfectly at 11:11.
There we go. That was because of YouTube that was echoing. So,
oh, okay.
There we go.
Mike, review what 11:11 means, because that comes up a lot for me.
It's anytime there's a doubled number, like 11:11, 44, 44. It's just like a reminder, or 222, or just when you see those, it's just a reminder that the angels are watching. I don't know.
Angels are nearby. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And for me, it's just I just say I'm connected with the universe, and if I happen to be thinking about making a decision or something at that point, then I'm like, okay, well, the universe is with me. I'm just connected to the universe. It's just a reminder.
Beautiful. Yeah, I get lots of those reminders. For me, it's a reminder to say a prayer, just to connect. It's all beautiful. So we're on the prefix, and it says, I guess you have to go a couple of pages, Lynn, because they give you an index and everything. Contents. There you go. And as always, please either put your hand up or share. Just open mic, because sometimes I don't see the hands. It says, people walk through life carrying a longing to be at peace and free, both outside and in. It is not difficult to see that this longing manifests differently in every heart. This is not a human shortcoming. It is the miracle of consciousness expressing itself through people's countless unique experiences. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to share. Reverend Melanie, yesterday during the homily was talking about, it's okay to look at when we're really sad and when we're depressed or upset. It's okay to look and be curious. I don't have to be afraid of that feeling. I just need to trust. And then somebody was saying we grow through suffering. And I wrote down, that seems to be the world's theme, growing through suffering, if we allow it to grow. So Jesus says, pick up your cross and follow me. So how will I look at this suffering? The Course tells us we can look and still experience the peace of God. So this has been like a major theme popping up. And I went to a Catholic cenacle, which I had never heard of before, but it's a where they're praying, you know, the priests are consecrating themselves to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and everyone is praying for guidance. And she calls all of them her sons. But this is something that she gave, who I understand he's blessed now. They're trying to move him into sainthood. Let me just tell you who in a minute, because I forget his name. This was all given to Father Stefano Gobbi, Gobbi. So this is what he's given. And this is not new to us because we understand how things are given. But for him, he was, of course, ostracized and condemned, and nobody believed that the Blessed Mother was really talking to him. But he followed through and he kept writing. And he was guided by his advisors to start writing everything down. So he's got what's called this blue book, and it's not, you can't just get it. You have to either be a participant of the cenacle. It's just not on like YouTube or anything or Amazon. But this is what she wrote. This is what she gave him. June 26, 1991. And this is from America and Europe. In you, I manifest myself. It's number 452, but this was fascinating to me. It says, you are called to be the new heart of the new church, which Jesus is forming in a holy, mysterious way in the heavenly garden of my Immaculate Heart. And that holy, mysterious way really jumped out at me. So, how will I look at the suffering? How will I look and ask for the peace of God? So anyway, back to Michael Singer. When you first hear the teachings of spiritual awakening and inner surrender, you naturally hear them through the filter of your past. As you progress along the path of opening up and letting go of your past stored impressions, what once seemed complex and difficult becomes surprisingly clear and straightforward. As this transformation takes place, questions naturally arise. What will you find in these pages in the outpouring of 200 questions from fellow seekers who have tasted the possibility of liberation and want to understand it more deeply? These questions spanned every aspect of life: relationships, work, how we navigate our thoughts and emotions, and how we ultimately learn to release the inner blockages that have kept us bound. These are not theoretical inquiries. They come from people who are doing the real work, people who have felt the friction of letting go and have glimpsed the expansiveness on the other side. Their questions help illuminate the many ways in which the mind tries to reassert control, how the heart can open and close, and how the journey unfolds layer by layer, deeper and deeper. And we're all very, very familiar with how that mind tries to control. He says, I have come to see these questions are an integral part of our spiritual journey. Each person's question is a doorway into greater understanding, a mirror reflecting where we are in our own growth. When you explore these questions and their responses, you are not just reading someone else's progress, process, you are given the chance to look fully, freshly at your own. Here I go. I'm implementing my own words again. So we're going to be reading the questions and looking at how each person is reflecting and growing in our own way. This book is meant to be a companion on your path. My hope is that you will discover in these pages the reassurance that you are not alone. Your walk with others who are inspired to embrace life's challenges and willing to learn what it means to surrender in the moments that matter most. So I think this is going to be a really great book. Ultimately, life itself is asking you a single question. Are you ready? Are you willing to let go? Are we willing to let go? As you engage with questions in this book, you will find your own answers arising from the seat of awareness within you. That is where true wisdom is found, untethered by the mind, untouched by circumstance, and waiting to be discovered. All you have to do is be willing to let go. And that's Michael A. Singer. And that's such a biggie. You know, are we willing to grow through the suffering? Are we willing to let go of our own beliefs and just look? You know, are we look and be curious? So the next part is the foundation. Chapter 1, the mind. And this is in italics. The most important thing you can do in life is recognize you are not the mind. That voice in your head, it never stops talking. It narrates, it judges, it worries, and it tries to control everything. What if you could simply watch it instead of getting caught in it? What a great question, right? What if you could simply watch it instead of getting caught in it? And that's what we've been practicing all these years. The truth is, your mind is a beautiful tool, but it was never meant to be who you are. In this chapter, we're going to take a deeper look at your questions about the mind, how it works, how it pulls you in, and most importantly, how to step back into the seat of awareness where real peace begins. You don't have to fix your mind. You just have to stop letting it run your life. So stop letting it run our life. All right. Section 1. How can I use the mind as a tool to escape negative thoughts or feelings? Oh my goodness. This brings me right back to like 1993. You know, in Louise Hay, it's only a thought and a thought can be changed. I must have said that thousands of times. If you want, oh, okay, Sharon's already started reading it. Great. If you want to use the mind to rise above negativity, you first have to recognize that the mind itself is layered. There's the lower mind, which reacts based on past experiences, and the higher mind, which has the ability to lift you out of those conditioned patterns. And that's an important word to remember, that it's conditioning. They're old beliefs, they're the old lies that, you know, have made an impact on us. You have a choice. You can either let the mind keep running its old programs, or you can consciously direct it towards higher thoughts. That's what positive thinking is. It's using the mind to uplift itself. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a valid and powerful technique. When you notice that your mind is starting to spiral into negativity, immediately engage it with something higher. You know, Connie Poole has this great analogy of column A and column B. We want to be in column A because that's the right choices, the higher choices. So when we're in that column B and we're spiraling out of control, going down that rabbit hole, it's a choice to choose again. Use affirmations, a mantra, or you can keep it simple and tell yourself, I can handle this. Just keep saying, I can handle this over and over again. No matter what's happening, no matter what thoughts are arising, just keep reinforcing that you can handle it. What you're really doing is redirecting the mind's energy. Instead of letting it drag you into the muck, you're lifting it up to a place where you can stay centered. And that's really valuable. At the highest level, the real work is not about battling the mind. It's about learning to relax in the face of whatever it's doing. Okay, so here I go back to what Melody was saying. You know, I can just be curious about it. What is my mind actually doing now? You won't always be successful, especially in the beginning. And that's okay. Start with the little things. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when the weather isn't how you want it, when someone says something that rubs you the wrong way, practice relaxing. Just let go. Your mind will try to pull you into the reaction, but you don't have to go there. If you stay relaxed, the energy that was about to get caught in negativity will actually rise up inside of you. This is the transmutation of energy. So that energy that was about to get caught up in negativity is going to actually rise up. Over time, as you keep letting go, instead of feeding the negativity itself will start to dissolve. The mind will naturally quiet down because it will no longer, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. It will no longer be receiving reinforcement. The more you relax, the more the mind releases its grip. One day you'll look back and realize that the very thing that used to disturb you no longer have the power to do so. That's freedom. That's the result of having done the real work. And this is so powerful because I've done this, but with me, I've done it with gratitude and changing the thought as soon as I woke up in the morning because I saw the pattern, but it took me a long time to see the pattern. But I finally saw the pattern that the thoughts just came piling in as soon as I woke up. So I had to actually do what he's saying here, you know, just keep letting go instead of feeding the negativity. So what worked for me, changing the thought, was I started thinking of gratitude. I started thinking of all the things that I could be grateful for, whether when in the spring, I got out of my car and there were crocuses growing, just a sign of spring. And it was just little things, but it had such a great impact. It was so valuable. I don't know.
Yeah, Lynn, I just, I because my computer is messing up, I've been like plugging in things and trying to make things work. So when you've been
Okay.
up on the screen, it's because it must be Mercury in retrograde. Obviously, I blamed the planets for my problem, but it seemed like everything went to hell on my computer system this morning. So thank
Yeah.
God is here, and Jesus has given me the patience and ability to just work through it without losing my mind. So
Right. I'm so glad you didn't need a new computer.
I know. Oh my God.
I think this is another thing that we have to realize that there's so much going on right now that it's not us, it's out there. And I think sometimes I forget, like um, sometimes I get so drained and like I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's happening here? Am I getting sick again or whatever? And then after a week or so, it just disappears. I blame my medicine, I blame everything. But I think, like you're saying, it could just be retro. Yeah, gratitude to your husband too. Yeah, it came in handy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, helping us all out.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, he's the friend of Jesus. He hates Jesus. And he's the one who fights with Jesus in his dreams and uh he's like, no, you're not going to be my God. But he can't help it because he knows. But anyway,
Yeah, I get it. And I just look at it and say, you know what? They're just angry at God, but God can handle their anger.
yeah,
He's very well equipped. But what I found is that my husband has a soft spot for the Blessed Mother. So that's my in. So I just keep praying to the Immaculate Heart of Mary.
absolutely,
And you
man.
know what? It's working. I have a tree outside that we thought was totally dead, and I just kept praying and praying. And guess what? It has little leaves on it. It has, it's not completely back, but it's back enough, and that's my miracle.
I love that. And I see Karen has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Erin.
Thank you. Thank you both. This was initially for Lynn Johnson, but really it's for everyone. It's just what came to my mind when she was sharing about her husband, but it's actually for everyone. Um, you know, in the course, he talks about the 3 levels of teaching, which is the 3 levels of relationships. And the 3rd level of relationships is the lifelong relationship. And it sounds like with Lynn, your husband and you're in that lifelong relationship where you're learning the lessons that you came to learn, right? And I see that in my own life, so that's why I'm seeing it in your life. Thank you.
Yeah, and I can see that in mine too. We're married 54 years. A lot of changes, a lot of things happen.
Wow, 54 years. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Oh my God,
I
that's
think Lynn's
amazing.
up there too.
Yeah, so we've been since 1974. So what
Yeah,
is
you're
that?
52. 52, because I'm 1972.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
right around there.
yeah.
It's amazing. You don't hear those years anymore.
No,
It's
but he's not the same man and I'm not the same woman. It's like
true.
we're different people, and have evolved together in probably the most organic way. It's crazy because you guys know some things about my life. So, it's not, it hasn't been the simple way, um,
Right.
but it certainly has been an adventure. So,
If we share one mind, isn't it all lifelong?
yeah, you're right, Deb.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I kept going back to. There's a lesson here for me to learn. And I want to learn this lesson. I don't want to keep making this same mistake. And if we're together, for this lesson, then let me learn it. And that got us through a lot of trials. Let's put it that way. Right?
We're all still together.
Yes. Okay, so let's go back to how do I handle the narration in my mind that creates doubt, guilt, or fear? Good one. If you wish to work with your mind to rise above these lower thoughts, you have to see why that aspect of your mind has so much power over you. If you look closely, you'll see that it's because deep down, You're afraid you won't be okay. You believe that if you make the wrong decision, or if things don't go your way, it will somehow determine your well-being. That's why the mind keeps talking. It's trying to find a way to make you feel okay. And I forget, maybe it was Michael Singer that said, um, and other people that have sages that have said, the ego is not your enemy. It's just trying to help you. It thinks it's trying to help you. The important realization is that it's your mind causing the problem in the first place. You're asking a mind filled with doubt, fear, and insecurity to give you advice about how to be at peace. Do you see how absurd that is? The more you engage with it, the louder it gets. It can never give you the answer because it is the problem. And in his Michael Singer's other books, he talks about your roommate. Think of your mind as the roommate. And if your roommate said these horrible things to you, you would tell them to get out. You didn't want to hear it anymore. And here we have the mind doing it to us. Don't try to silence the mind. Oh my gosh, I tried that for so long. Instead, step back and watch it. See its patterns. Notice how it pulls you in with fear and uncertainty, making everything seem urgent and important. Think about that, right? For so long, I was thinking, oh, I have to quiet the mind, I have to stop my thoughts. And it was impossible. I mean, they did lessen, but not totally stop. But I like it better to step back and watch them like passing clouds. When you truly see what's happening, you stop taking the mind so seriously. You stop believing that its endless complaints and apparent solutions hold the key to your happiness. You don't have to fix the mind. You don't have to resolve every thought or feeling. You just have to realize that you are not your mind. The moment you do that, you're free. Decisions can unfold naturally without struggle. Life can take care of itself. Your job is not to control everything. So our job is not to control everything. Your job is to learn to relax back into the seat of awareness and let go of the false belief that your well-being depends on getting what the mind wants. Wow. False belief that getting what the mind wants is my well-being. What I truly want, and I love, this is the lesson from Mike today, 185. I truly want the peace of God. That's what I truly want. And I said that for a long, long time too. Heaven is a decision I must make. And I go back to that, the Blessed Mother saying, that Jesus is forming in a whole mysterious way the heavenly garden, the new heart of the new church, the heavenly garden of her immaculate heart. And I'm sorry, I keep dwelling on this, but I just feel like all these, maybe, all these, what do you want to call them? Scribes are getting all this information for a time such as this, whether it was the Course, the Way of Mastery, the Way of the Heart, all these books, all these passages are coming now. I'm just reading Karen from before, stop it. Bob Newhart, yeah. But anyway, all these books are being scribed now. And then you have the Blessed Mother doing so much now. So I pray for her intercession. because I need right judgment. Because my biggest thing is help me to discern truth. Help me to know what is the absolute truth. So you just have to realize you are not your mind. So now we're on 1.3. How can I shift from personal to impersonal thinking?
And Karen has her hand up.
I'm sorry, Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say when you said, how can I know it's the truth? How can I discern? And this lesson, I want the peace of God is it. I mean, I know by how I feel. When I'm not at peace, I
Mm,
recognize that I mean, that's my indicator. If I am not at peace, that is my indicator. Then I have the decision to make. Do I want to see this differently? Am I willing to, as you said, am I willing to, from the top of the hour, am I willing to let this go? Am I willing? And sometimes, no, I got to say no. Sometimes I'm not willing. And sometimes I just have to sit with it. Sometimes I have to go through it, and sometimes I am. So it's always different for me. I can't say it's always the same. So, but yeah, I that's my indicator. Am I at peace? Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, good points. Because when we're not at peace, we do feel it. I feel it like it in my gut, and it tense everything up, so that's a good warning sign. But again, I have to be aware that I'm doing it and be aware um, to look at it and be curious and say, what's going on here? Karen, did you want to say something else? Okay,
No, I'm sorry.
that's okay. Yeah, and that's what I think all of this is pointing to. Look, be curious, trust, um, and trust the guidance that is coming. And what I'm also finding is, um, if it's truly guidance, it'll come several times. It doesn't just, it's not once and done. So, that's helpful too.
I'd like to
Okay,
say that I
sure.
see peace is here. Peace is eternal truth. It is the only thing that truly exists. So it is here no matter what I think I feel. Do you see? It doesn't have anything to do with me that I think I am. The right mind is the one mind, the one eternal truth that goes on forever, exists like it is the mind of God. So, and to me, that's the right mind. And what he's talking about, the guilt and the fear and the wanting to do anything, is the ego concept in the Course in Miracles. I love the way Mickey Singer puts it, so that I can hear different voices in my head and decipher. But at some point, all of that is just ego, all of it. And the one eternal truth, the one essence, God, is the only thing that's real. And everything else is the illusion. Everything else is the illusion. So that becomes the one mind, the decision for the one mind, and then stay there. As
Beautiful.
Bob Newhart says, stop going out.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Deb. That's beautiful. Yeah. Just stay there because the peace of God is always here. It's
Yes.
here for our asking. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. If I could quiet my mind a little and just sit in that. And it's funny because I'm seeing it happen more and more. And it's so apparent when I'm with other people that are like getting all upset about all these things. And I'm like, why? There's nothing here, it's not a problem. And they're like over the top. And I remember that I used to be like that. So it it's an aha moment for me. Okay, so where are we? Um, 1-3. How can I shift from personal to impersonal thinking? The impersonal mind refers to the deeper, more peaceful thought patterns
And
that
has
are
her,
not about, I'm sorry.
Erin has her hand up again.
Okay, Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Deb. That's the absolute truth. But that is not my experience here all the time, you know? So yeah, I know the truth. I think everybody knows the truth. That's, of course, a miracle student. I still have a lot of resistance a lot of times. So I think that for me, it takes a lot of practice. And yeah, lesson 34 is very helpful. I could see peace instead of this. I use lesson 5 and lesson 34 on a daily basis. You know, I'm never upset for the reason I think. It's never anything outside of me, ever. It's always an inside job. And peace is this always there, but am I always peaceful? That's the question. And how much resistance do I have? You know, like I want the peace of God above all else. But if I really wanted the peace of God, I would be at peace all the time. So I would love if anybody can be at peace all the time, give me your secret, because it's not to me, it's not always for me. That's me personally. I'm not always at peace, but it is a practice, and it takes what you said, Lynn, what you just said about when you see the conflict on the outside and you can be at peace. That's a big practice of mine. I've noticed I've been able to do that a lot, especially with my daughter. She's my biggest
Trigger.
she's my biggest trigger and my biggest teacher. Yeah, both. She's my
Yeah,
biggest trigger
yeah.
and my biggest teacher. And when I can be at peace, but I kind of have to say, no, it's not always my experience. I know it's the truth. Absolutely no. I know the truth is true and nothing else is true. It's obvious, but no, that's
But
not
I
always my
think,
experience. Thanks.
yeah, I don't want to give the impression that I find it all the time either. But I think sometimes we have to compliment ourselves and realize that we are getting there, even though it seems like it's such an uphill battle. But I want to hear what Sharon says too. Thank you, Karen. Sharon?
Your
Get it working. I had to get it working. Yeah. Um, yeah, for me, this is what happens sometimes when I just am so not present. I forget that I'm mind. And so right away when you really think you're the body, you're really stuck. But when we remember that it's either the right mind or the wrong mind, and the wrong mind, I was in a group where they were talking about how the course talks about murderous thoughts, murder this, and the guy that was doing, the class was saying, you really have to see all the time that you're a mind, that it's the mind that course is talking about. It's never talking to a person because there are no people. But I sometimes forget that. Sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, I do a lot. I think I'm Sharon. So I have to remind myself in a gentle way that I'm really mind, all mind, and that it's so not personal either. Like the wrong mind, it's just a mind, whatever, it's awareness. So it's just about just making the decision to choose again. And, just like Karen, I have to do that a lot too. So yeah, it's still a process. It's a process until it's not. So that's all I
But
wanted to
that's,
share.
thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah, but that's the whole reason for the course. That's why we need the course. It's a
right.
mind training.
It's a mind training, and it's also important to realize, when we do mess up, that it's still perfect because you can't. Peace never goes anywhere. It's always here. You know. Anyway, I love the
Mhm.
reading you're doing, Lynn. It's very
Oh,
this
thank
book. I love him. I think I have all his books, and I feel like he really complements any of the teachings that we go through, whether it be NTI or because I love NTI too. I love NTI and I love the course. NTI is a little easier for me because, of my own brain stuff that's going on. But I listen to the course all the time. But the Course in Miracles is really a very simple book. but it's what Linda just wrote, patient, persistent practice. That's what it is. Patience, persist. Yeah, and it really requires us to be honest where we are, because consistency, well, that hasn't happened, eh, for me completely at all. So I'm just being with what is and just realizing that, everybody here is mind, which means there are no form. There's no form here. It's all formlessness. And, I can't be reminded enough because I'm in a world with all these egos, and then I fall back and be an ego again. So anyway, that's all. Thanks. Thanks so much,
No,
Lynn.
thank you. Yeah. Um, and we're all struggling with this together. It's not, it's easy. He told us, it's simple, but it's not going to be easy. So we were warned, but it's worth it, right? It is the decision for heaven. So anybody else want to comment before I go back?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first off, I'm loving this conversation. And yeah, it's all about me. And so that's the only thing I can have anything to do with. If I look out in the world and I don't like what I see, it's not because the world is wrong. It's because I've decided I don't like it. It's all about me. It's up to me. And so that is a very personal, for me, coming to the recognition that this is a dream and I'm the one who's projecting. That's what I think people get confused about Course in Miracles, because Jesus tells us it's an illusion, it's a dream, and they think that there is no table here. Then nothing is here. And that's actually not the truth. The world that is here is God's world. The world I see is my interpretation of God's world. And so God absolutely knows that I do not need a chair because I do not have a body. And what I am doesn't need a table or a computer to talk to myself, my brother, the reality. So, God didn't make a, a world where people are crippled. God made a world where we have everything and we can do anything. And we look at the world and say, "Oh, but I can't. I don't. I'm crippled." I'm the one saying that. God never said that. God never said that we were broken, that we needed chairs, that we needed shoes or clothes. Why was God surprised when he saw Adam and Eve in the garden and they were wrapped up with fig leaves? And he says, what's up with that? And they said, well, we had to cover ourselves because we're naked. And God's like, who said you're naked? I don't see that at all, because God sees us as we are, not as we imagine ourselves to be. So just to remembering that the idea that there is no world, the world is the world that I see, that I interpret, and I give meaning to. And when I see the world that God made, there's no interpretation. There's no coloring of things. There's no changing of things. There's just acceptance of the beauty of it. And I can do that now. I can just accept it now and say, it may look like a table to me, but I don't need no table. I don't need no computer. I don't need no chair. I don't need no body. These are all things I made up because I thought I was broken and I had lost connection. And it's all everything that we do. If you look at the world and see the things that are being done in the world and check the interpretation of it, you will see that every single thing that's happening in the world is our attempt to reconnect. It's our attempt to reconnect, to find that connection that we think we've lost. And when we recognize that we never lost the connection, that it's always been here, then we don't have to try to do anything anymore. And that's why, I mean, yeah, okay, I do believe I need a computer to talk to you right now. And so I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to say, God, why do I have to have a computer? No, I'm just going to say, okay, that's how I see it now. I know that that's not what God intended me to see. God intended me to communicate with you directly without any distance or interference. And, I'm choosing to feel or to believe that I'm missing that ability. So anyway, thank you for letting me share. And I see Karen has her hand up also.
Sure, Karen.
That was so beautiful, Lynn, and so perfect. And it just reminds me of what I was reading earlier in my class from the God of Sickness. When a brother is sick, it is because he is not asking for peace, and therefore he does not know he has it. So just that one sentence there, he is not asking for peace. So what is he asking for? He's asking for conflict. If he's not asking for peace, he's asking for conflict. If he's not asking for peace, he does not know he has it, that it's already there. He's believing in the ego thoughts. This is what the split mind does. And then he says the acceptance of peace is the denial of illusion, and sickness is an illusion. So that's it. That's really just what you were saying, Lynn. It's an illusion, and it's the denial of the illusion. It's the Holy Spirit sees that it is not so, and it takes, for me, yeah, I know the truth. And I think my practice is really pretty good, actually. I've been very much doing the watching lately, being the observer, as Lynn was saying earlier, learning to just observe the thoughts, watch the thoughts. Don't try to change the thoughts or push them down. They're perfect. That's what they're there for. They're there to heal. They're there to look at and recognize that they know they are not the truth. And yeah, it's and I don't always have to go through that process, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. So that's why I say every time it's different. But the peace is always there, as Deb said. It's just accepting that this is what I want. I want the peace of God. To say these words is nothing. To mean these words is everything. Sometimes it's like, I can just be at peace with not being at peace. And that's okay too. Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful. I just love all the sharing too. And that's it, just to and ask for guidance. What am I to do now? The all the sharing. Thank you so much. I see we're at the top of the hour and my grandchildren are here, so I'm going to stop here. So we'll start on this section next time. And thank you all so much. Have a great week.
Thank you, Lynn. Love you, sweetheart. And I appreciate you so much. Let me go ahead and stop the share and close off the